Do you think this main event is pretty straightforward? Because I think this main event is pretty freaking straightforward.
Do you believe the consensus that Chito Vera probably doesn't deserve to be here if it weren't for a storyline and call out from the champ? There's no injuries to the top.
Well,
there's no like Merab's here. Merab made weight to back up.
That's kind of obvious, right?
Corey Sandhagen 50-45.
Everything about this main event is obvious. Chito doesn't deserve to be here. Chito,
he's a legit contender. I don't want to say entirely doesn't deserve to be here.
Although I do disagree with a lot of fans that say that the first fight was
not a fluke.
It was a fluke.
Anyone's ever been kicked in the leg, that shit blows.
But it was a sort of one-time sort of thing because people have tried to do the leg kick thing on O'Malley.
It
hasn't gone the same way. He hit the perennial nerve, and that's a tough nerve to sort of crack. He did something very difficult and he pulled it off. The chances are not likely of him pulling that off again. And then at that point, we got to look at them as fighters as a whole.
Chito's sitting here at 5 in the world, so you can't hate
it's not the most unwarranted.
If Chito Vera was sitting at Rob Font's place at 9, we'd be like, okay, this is stupid.
This isn't Dan Henderson, Michael Bisping.
No, this isn't Dan Henderson, Michael Bisping. Very good point.
Chito
this is at least a 5 in the world, and let me pull it up. What is he in his last few fights? Chito Vera.
He
had a decision against Pedro Munoz in his last fight.
Lost to Sandhagen before that.
Badly.
And then beat, what's his face? No,
I said Pedro Munoz.
Well, no, I'm saying it was in the fight before that. I think he's 2-1 in his last 3.
2-1 in his last 3.
So look, is he the most deserving? No, Merab obviously deserves it more than him, but the UFC kind of is punishing Merab for not fighting Aljamain.
Who's no longer in the division.
Whatever. Sandhagen deserves it more than him. He literally beat him 50-45. Yeah. Fuck that one judge who gave it to Chito. So yes, he's not the most deserving. The style matchup is not the best for him because O'Malley comes out and he doesn't really have a feeling out process when he starts his strike. And Chito feels out his opponents for a round and a half.
Yeah, when's the last time Chito Vera won round 1?
I don't think he's ever won round 1.
Notoriously slow.
So if we're talking about how does Chito win this fight, so he can't win it. I believe he can't win it by decision.
You don't think he has a chance to just kind of outclass O'Malley?
His only chance
3, 4, and 5.
His only chance is 3, 4, and 5. And I don't know. If you watch the last couple fights, the Sandhagen and the Munoz fight, both were a little uninspired. One very uninspired. The other one, he was lucky to kind of pull away and get a victory out. But both were kind of uninspired. Both weren't enthusiastic. He really went out there and he didn't put it on Munoz the way you would have thought off of a older contender. And then Corey Sandhagen, he just shit the fucking bed.
Yeah, I mean,
so
Jason,
he comes in,
for anyone to we're not trying to run the Chito hate show. Anyone watch that fight and watch Jason Perillo sit down with him in the corner, who's a phenomenal coach, got belts under his wing and credentialed and been with Vera, it seems, the whole time. He literally asked the dude to his face, is everything all right? And Chito's like, yeah. He's like, well then, we gotta
wake
start.
The fuck up.
You're down 3 rounds, buddy. What the fuck?
That's the problem. That happens too many times. Oh, wait. And also, the other fight is Dominic Cruz. Sorry.
Also losing that fight on his way up to it.
He was losing that fight up until the 4th round.
He was losing to Frankie Edgar until he got the finish.
So that's why I don't know if he can win a decision. Because a lot of these fights that he comes back and he wins, he's never winning rounds. He's not a guy who wins rounds. So he can't win by decision. The question really is, do you think Sean O'Malley's defense is impenetrable, or do you think there's holes?
Peter Yan found the target,
cracked him,
had his moments. Peter Yan's very defensively sound fighter, though. There's a reason he's number 4 in the world still, for being perfectly honest, after some really tough losses.
4 of his last 5.
And I think he got woken up a little bit, yo, this kid can fucking hit hard. This kid is accurate, and I think he just was I'm not going to take anything away from O'Malley. I thought he won it watching the fight. He did win the fight, and I just think it was one of those moments where the champ, or the former champ, certainly underestimated the caliber.
Yeah.
And it was only 3 rounds, so I don't know exactly how tested O'Malley is to be in. I don't know how that goes.
He's never gone to
4. I don't know how that fight goes if Yan had 10 more minutes, but I want to say it would lean in his favor.
Probably.
But he was losing. He lost that 3-round fight, in my opinion.
Probably rounds 2 and 3.
Yeah, for sure.
Because round 1, it's tough to give him. But
I need energy.
But anyways,
I'm coming right back.
So really, this is a question of Chito Vera. Do you believe?
You think Chito Vera could beat Peter Yan? Let's be fucking real. I don't think we would be like Chito Vera would smoke him. I don't think we would say that.
Well, that's an interesting one because Petr Yan.
Just throwing that random thing out there. If this was like a scramble kind of thing, all right, and they had to put this together out of nowhere.
All right, if we were
O'Malley, I don't know, he breaks his toe or something.
All right, let's go through that mythical matchup then.
Yeah.
Both start very slow. So round 1 is basically even. We don't know who would go further in round 1. Probably Petr Yan because he, at the very least in the first round, will push forward. He just doesn't throw. So just off of ring generalship, he'd probably win round 1. Again, in any fight, he is that.
If I'm going to play future matchmaker on an expected outcome of O'Malley winning this and Yan winning his fight, I think Vera losing and Yan winning, I think that's actually very good.
That's a good fight.
If outcomes lead to that circumstance, I think that's a great fight. I think that sells anywhere, and I think that can probably. Chito Vera. Let's be real. We were at that press conference today. Maybe it's just in Miami, so like the way the guy had some pop. Now I'm also gonna say these were the free fans. This was free to the public.
Yes.
I'm not trying to say that there's no love with Chito Vera down here, but we're definitely going to see more O'Malley fans, I think, in the main.
It does seem like a theme, though.
Yeah.
Because even at the presser, if you watch the presser, it was
this place popping for Chito Vera.
It was a fuck O'Malley crowd.
Yeah, because you don't really see Chito Vera getting the mega stardom kind of approach, but you would think this guy is the
You would think he's in O'Malley's shoes.
You would think this guy's the champion.
Yeah.
He's walking out with this pseudo people's champ thing in a fight where he's not deserving in most analytical perspectives if there wasn't a history here. This isn't like a short notice Strickland Izzy thing. This is I don't see many people getting a shot with this record, this particular performance setup, without a win over the champion in their rise to contention.
Yeah,
this is a storyline fight. This is the UFC getting their money.
The UFC wants to build a rivalry between between Chito and O'Malley because that's how you raise O'Malley's star powers if he has a rival.
Yeah.
So it's if
he smokes him, if Vera smokes O'Malley, what does the UFC do? And man, let's take a bet. How long does that guy hold this belt? I doubt it. That's the craziest thing because if Vera wins this belt is probably in hot potato. This belt is flipping
because let's say Vera wins. That means O'Malley loses. Vera wins.
I don't think you can give O'Malley a rematch.
Then it flip flops again because it would probably go to Merab. I definitely think Merab wins against Chito.
You think Merab 50-45s him?
Probably.
Just the machine.
Again, Chito needs space. You saw what he did to Dominic Cruz. He had space in that fight. Frankie Edgar, he had space.
I will give some fight IQ to Chito Vera. He openly said he finds and he studied that Dominic Cruz's fight style is just very dangerous and not evolving in modern MMA. That was, I thought, pretty analytical. I could just be honest.
Look
at that Dominic Cruz bobs into the head kick. That was actually brilliant timing.
It's analytical, finishing. But it also was conducive to his style. His style is maintaining space
for your shot
and finding your shot. With Merab, he doesn't have a shot in the clinch.
Also, Dominic Cruz pillow punches. Chito Vera, though, absorbing 1,100 strikes in the UFC.
12.
At this 1,200 strikes.
Hasn't been knocked down.
We're going to find out if
that's
we're gonna see if he can,
we're gonna see if that chin's legit.
We're gonna see if that chin is super legit. I think if you watch the Chito Vera Rob Font fight, you will see, man, this dude wears a shot better than anybody. This is not like Rob Font fought horribly, but if you're looking at the tail of if you're looking at just the end of that fight, you would think Chito Vera was enjoying sparring, and you would think Rob Font went to war.
Yeah.
And that was a way closer fight until it wasn't in terms of strikes going into that third round. It was competitive at least. I'm not going to say close. It was competitive, and you would think Chito Vera didn't get hit once.
Yeah.
But he gets hit. He's not Mr. Head Movement. He's not the most elusive guy. He's fairly stoic and flat-footed.
Again,
he's not light on his feet.
This is another situation where the saying comes comes in. If
Jose Aldo backpacked him. Like, there's people who've been able to exploit that he's not the most.
If we're talking about someone's,
and if you're gonna go with skills win fights,
if we're talking about someone's chin, that means he's getting hit.
yeah, but he wears it like fuck.
So that's what I'm saying.
He wears.
So that's to your point. He's not Mr. Head Movement. That's why he hasn't been knocked down. He wears a shot well, and that's what we
it's
talk
like he doesn't
about.
even get swole.
It's
bizarre how tough this guy is.
This is a weird fight to
I don't know if it's freak Ecuadorian genetics or luck or like. I even when I see him get hurt, it's not like he's really hurt.
This is a super weird fight to gauge. In some ways, you kind of have to throw the first fight out the window.
Perennial nerd. I mean, I look at it as a finish. I mean, it sucks for O'Malley.
Well, yes. Like I said before,
I don't know.
I think
I was
of it
on
as
the kid's hype. I was sad he lost. I don't know.
I think of it as legit, but you have to kind of throw it out because neither guy is the same.
No, and
so you have to throw it out.
Vera had a tough time with elite competition, and O'Malley passed the tests.
Yeah,
he had less of them because of star appeal, but he passed.
Yeah,
he passed. He dogged it out against Peter Yan, and then
he did get favorable matchmaking because like they both did fight Pedro Munoz, and O'Malley didn't really have to pass that test because he poked him in the eye, and then immediately got a Yan fight.
I'm not here to stand and say that he could not beat Pedro Munoz if it came down to
he
it.
probably could. I'm just saying, he got favorable matchmaking because he went from a no contest to Munoz to #1 in the world.
Yan answered a lot of questions for me, a lot of questions for the world. If I can bring back before 10 more minutes is interesting in that fight. 10 more minutes.
That's the problem.
That's why we can't guarantee that
Vera can't
slow show Vera versus
we can't guarantee much of anything in this fight. Like there's a lot of fights where you can guarantee shit.
Yeah, if you're just gonna be the dick rider and think O'Malley steamrolls this guy. I mean, listen, if we see it, a star is born beyond this is superstardom.
Yeah.
If O'Malley comes out and makes the statement, Chito Vera is back to fighting Pedro Munoz's, he's fighting
like you said, he probably fights Yan next.
He probably fights Yan if he loses, but Yan if Yan wins, Yan is already one rank higher than him. So I don't even think Yan fights a guy who loses. But I mean, he's not fighting Aljamain Sterling again.
The problem
he's
is
not fighting Marab again. You're not fucking doing that.
Where is Jan's stock? And I mean, you know what? No, let's leave that for later on.
Yeah, that's going to be post fight. That's going to be post fight.
But
we will be doing a post fight breakdown.
All right, you know what? We broke down this fight. I mean, we didn't really do much breakdown. We're just kind of talking about questions. But that's literally what this fight is.
All right, so this fight is
literally.
What's the? Let me get these stats here. What's the range on either guy here? Let me get facts on these dudes. Okay, so we got O'Malley is 3 inches taller, 2 years younger, and 1.5 inches reach. Significant strikes per minute, 7.25 for O'Malley, 4.3 for Vera. Strike accuracy is 61% for O'Malley, 53.5 for Vera. Vera having a bigger, pool to draw from here.
Yeah.
Neither of the guys are submission threats. I feel like having watched O'Malley in certain grappling competitions for the UFC, he can roll. He can certainly roll. I don't know where his belt.
He can hold his own. He's not a guy who will.
I'm not here to see that. I'm not here to say that Chito Vera thinks his.
Chito Vera's not. I mean, Corey Sandhagen proved
Jose Aldo backpacked him and won that fight because he was like, okay, this is tough.
Corey Sandhagen's not even a guy who's known for any grappling. And
he did it with a torn tricep or some shit. No,
that was Rob Font.
That was Rob Font. Sorry, Rob Font.
But yeah.
Sorry, Rob Font.
They're very similar.
This episode Sorry, we named this episode "Sorry, Rob Font" just from the fact that it's just like the Vera fight and then that. Oh man, Rob Font's a better fighter to anyone who doesn't know.
Yeah.
He really is.
All right, let's just get to picks.
Let's get to picks. I think O'Malley in the third gets a TKO. I think O'Malley. If it goes the way it looked in the first fight, if leg drop didn't happen, O'Malley was faster, sharper, and he's fucking accurate still as hell.
For me, it's O'Malley KO too.
You can't fight like Chito Vera against Sean O'Malley. You can't just let someone touch you.
There's a lot of guys at the top of that division that you can't fight.
I feel like a few of Chito Vera's last 5 wins, maybe maybe 3 of them are these older dudes can't knock me out. He does not respect the power
Dominic
going
Cruz,
forward.
Pedro Munoz, Rob Font.
Frankie Edgar,
Frankie Edgar.
He's not respecting
That's 4
anything going forward.
That's 4 wins right there that he probably didn't. I mean, if we're discounting Rob
Also,
Font,
all guys with a shorter reach, to my knowledge. I'm assuming
Edgar
that
shorter,
I can bet you money.
Dom is shorter.
Dom may be shorter, but Dom also weird. I don't know. Dominic Cruz pillow punches. He's a marathon man.
Yeah. All right. I think it's O'Malley KO too. You think O'Malley KO?
I think Vera's gonna be in there for a little bit longer. I think maybe we see some back and forth. Maybe we have a 5-round war, but I doubt it. I'm gonna still stick on 3. I think O'Malley in 3.
See, the problem with picking Vera losing by KOs, that iron
TKO. I don't think he gets slept.
It's that iron chin. He hasn't even been knocked down. So it makes you think does he really get finished?
Let's just give
here?
that one kid who ate 85
Chris
O'Malley. Chris Moutinho, 85 significant O'Malley strikes per round in 2 rounds.
That green hair did not age well.
Dude, the green hair did not. He literally got fucking slept his next fight really bad. So you want to be a fighter.
Right.
That's All right, Chito
we got
Vera,
a lot
number 5 in the world.
We got a lot of fights. We got a lot of fights.
Hometown guy. If you're really thinking this is the O'Malley show here in Miami, this is
the Chito show.
Viva Ecuador. They were singing. They were singing.
Yeah.
They're gonna be singing the blues tomorrow night.
We'll see.
We'll see. Listen, I personally, I love the Chito Vera story. I think he's a great fucking guy outside. I think he's actually laid out one of the most respectful opinions on not being the flashiest guy that you could ever have. And he said the fame, the money, all that will eventually leave. What you have forever is your family and what you've invested in with them.
Yeah.
And disabled daughter, family man. I love that he's just authentically him. And if he wins, he's a great face. Do I think he's going to really hold the bantamweight title? That's just my only thing. I really don't think so. Co-main, Dustin, the Diamond Poirier versus Benoit Saint-Denis. Special Forces versus Baton Rouge, born and raised.
Look, man.
What is up with a couple of these fights? Louisiana has a huge French integration, French fusion. Creole is basically Southern French versus a guy from France. I love the historical blood undertone of this.
Yeah.
Poirier's a French last name, and I don't think he could spell Paris. No offense, Dustin Poirier.
Dustin Poirier is a smart guy. Come on.
He could spell Paris. We got 5'9" against 5'11" in height. Weight obviously the same. 35 versus Benoit is not an old prospect. He's 28.
Yeah,
we were in the impression last night he was in his 30s. At least I was. I thought he was for some reason 33 already.
I knew he was 28.
I just thought maybe he was in the military for longer. I guess you can leave the special forces in your 20s. 1-inch reach advantage, both southpaw. Actually, wow, nearly identical significant strikes per minute. Obviously, Poirier much larger, much more credentialed.
Larger sample size.
Yeah, larger sample size, and also caliber of opponent that he's had to maintain that with.
I mean, look, can we just be honest here?
Yeah.
Everyone who's so confident that Benoit Saint-Denis is going to win this fight
been watching for 3 years.
What they have to realize is the skill gap between Matt Frevola,
Steamroller,
and Dustin Poirier
is that's when you're on FIFA easy mode and you go right to professional to see what happens, and then when you're at 4 goals, when you're at 4 goals in 30 minutes,
not just professional. Bad. You go from easy mode
to world class
to expert. Okay, you go from easy to expert.
When you're down in the 10th minute, 4 goals, it's okay.
Frevola keeps his chin up. He
you got knocked out looking at the fucking breaking off the cage and looking up, smiling. Was still 4 minutes left in the round. That was an early finish. When did he finish for Vola?
Round 1.
Round 1. How far into round 1?
It was within 2 minutes.
It was less than 120. Fat Matt for Vola.
Less than 180 seconds.
Steamrolled by Benoit Saint-Denis. I did that on purpose, by the way.
Despite the age, is not making these same mistakes.
This also isn't a title fight. This is a 5-round fight, though. If anyone's wondering, we are still live, but we have lost light. Yes. Maybe that's a sad sign for Dustin Poirier. Maybe the light is shedding out of his career.
To me, it's just literally Dustin Poirier in that fight with Justin Gaethje, even though he got knocked out, was still very competitive.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he's still fighting the best of the best and being competitive. So to say that Benoit Saint-Denis has struggled with guys like Ishmael Bonfim and guys like freaking Matt Frivola had him in mount.
I will say this, the Bonfim brothers are very highly touted as well. So that was actually a nice early career matchup for him, if I can play devil's advocate a little bit.
All right, yes.
And he did get to finish. He still got to finish.
They're nice for prospects.
Yeah, and then, now
there's a difference between nice for prospects and number 3 in the fucking world.
Dustin Poirier. Yeah. Oh, we're at full pound per pound. Give me 1 second. Is Poirier coming in at 3?
3. Number 3.
Grace.
Number 3.
Yeah, number 3 in the world.
So there's a difference between Ishmael Bonfim being good for a prospect and Dustin Poirier being a legend of the division. There's a lot of things that I saw on tape about Benoit Saint-Denis that I do not like.
I think
going
it's
into
also
a Poirier
with all these
fight.
finishes you have. Looking at this division, it's kind of making me think like, what do you sacrifice Beneil to? Like, you've had enough showcase fights. Let's just mix it up, man. Dustin said yes.
Benoit Saint-Denis hasn't ever.
I don't think they were going to get Arman Tsarukyan to agree to that fight, but I would have loved to have seen that if you're talking about a jump, because he's making a jump.
Benoit has not. I don't think he's seen a round 3.
Not in the UFC.
Not in the UFC. He hasn't seen round 3. Dustin Poirier is a seasoned 5-round fighter.
And he's an incredible boxer in his own
Benoit
respect.
Saint-Denis is a guy who, if he has you in the clinch, he's going to jump for guillotine. You cannot let Dustin Poirier on top of you.
I also think he's just like a ATA project. Like, he's not getting guillotined at this point in his life. Like, no way.
He's not. Well, that's
not
my
by
point.
not by a guy who's been doing MMA.
This is my
no
point.
offense to the French Special Forces. Not by a guy who's been doing MMA for less than 10 years.
This is exactly my point.
He's not a jiu-jitsu specialist.
Third, Dustin Poirier is used to firefight, and Benoit, when he gets into a firefight, immediately shoots.
Yeah.
If this fight stays on the feet, Dustin Poirier wins by second round TKO.
I can see Dustin in the second round. I think this first round is very, very interesting.
It's the most crucial round because again, what
do you think we might get a little staring in the mirror? Dustin wiping off that like got knocked out in my last fight jitters, or do you think Dustin kind of's like, all right, let's just fucking press this kid?
He might press.
Let's just press this kid. He's 28. He's not in his prime yet. Like, maybe there's just like a little bit too much.
What is one of the best defenses to takedowns?
Can I also say this?
Pressure.
Last time Benoit Saint-Denis was in front of MSG, I don't know if Matt Frivola is like the biggest like fan favorite, even though he's a New York guy. I don't know.
He had
a little bit of hate. He's been in France. Like I don't know. I just don't think that many people were like. There's certain fighters that just get like no pop. And I don't know if Matt Frivola was like walking out and people were like, love it. But this is very much enemy territory.
Yeah.
This was like the dude walks out and boo, boo, boo. He's in, I'll put it this way. I want to say I think he's in very much enemy territory, and I want to see how that goes into this as well, especially, it's like, we're out there really.
But back to what I was saying about like this game, like the fight itself.
Yeah.
If Dustin Poirier goes out and pressures him, Benoit is very much a wrestler. So what is the best defense to wrestling? Pressuring the wrestler.
Yeah, get him on his back foot.
You cannot go for takedowns off your back foot.
Well, how's the cardio if you're just going backwards the whole, running backwards is the hardest thing you can do.
And that's exactly what you're trying to find out, because he hasn't been to a third round. If you're Poirier, you pressure, and you're just kind of pitter-patter to start the fight. You kind of just go jab, 1, 2, 1, 2. You stay simple for the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, Dustin.
Round 3, you pick it up. And like I said,
also, if Dustin can weather the storm, he can very much weather the storm. If this kid's going to come out swinging,
but that's what I was saying before. Dustin Poirier knows how to be in a firefight.
Yeah.
Benoit avoids the firefight at all costs. That's going to cost him in this fight. I am telling you right now, Dustin Poirier is winning this. He's winning this fight.
Oh man.
To me, like, look, I get it. It's kind of a setup for Benoit to win.
Poirier has more wins than double his wins. 29 wins over 13 wins. Like,
how many fights does Poirier have?
Poirier has
29,
39, 30, 37 fights.
37? So
37.
How many does Benoit have?
13. He has 14.
And how many wins does?
So if you were to double Benoit Saint-Denis' wins, that would be 26. Poirier has 29 wins.
That's crazy.
Yeah, dude.
Like, bro.
Poirier has,
look.
And Poirier has how many in the UFC of that 29? Probably at least 15.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
So really, if you're
talking about journeyman, Dustin Poirier's resume.
If you're betting on Benoit Saint-Denis in this fight,
you're brave, but you're not.
All you're betting on is that the Justin Gaethje knockout ruined him.
Here's our odds, though. You have plus 175 over minus 210.
It was minus 210.
Benoit Saint-Denis. I would assume it'd be on his side, right? If that's how we're going.
If the minus is on his side, he's the favorite.
My guy's actually coming in most people.
I just don't understand it.
ESPN. If we have to edit it, okay. But ESPN. You told ESPN.
So people are really banking on one knockout loss ruining a fighter. And again,
it was tough one to say. Also, that was number 2 in the world. That was Justin Gaethje.
That was number 2 in the world.
A guy Dustin Poirier has a win over in those 20.
Oh my goodness. And I get it. Look, I'll look like a fool if Dustin Poirier's chin is done right now because of that. But that's one knockout, one time, and he's taken the requisite time off. That was back in July of 23.
Some time.
It's March of 24.
It's been some time.
It's been around 8 months.
Not a quick turnaround, which is healthy for the fighter, especially.
This is not a Volkanovski issue. That's the problem I have with some of the fans that are trying to pick Benoit. They're comparing this too much to Volk.
You're also assuming that this is greatness. As Joe Rogan said, to chase greatness, you have to fight great, or whatever it is. But this is not the guy yet. This is the guy who's about to become the guy. And sometimes
I've seen Benoit fight. I don't see anything special.
Sometimes you run into a freight train, man. Sometimes it's like you see these people's dreams. They get to the UFC. And sometimes you're flatline. Sometimes you're Priscilla Cachoeira, who gets Valentina Shevchenko in her first fight.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're Benoit Saint-Denis, who gets to jump 13 places against number 3 in the world.
Dude,
and
My problem with it is people are making too much of a 1-to-1 comparison to the Volk situation.
Yeah.
And that's apples to oranges. Because yes, both did get knocked out.
This isn't a title fight, so...
It's not a title fight, but not even just that. Volk came back in 4 months from a nasty KO.
Yeah.
This is double the time off of a knockout that wasn't as bad.
Wasn't great.
Because really, he didn't get kicked in the head. If you remember, he got kicked in the neck.
He still fell flat on his face. He was down. He was finished.
He was finished, yeah. The fight should have stopped, but I don't know if he ever went fully out.
I'm sure he was on...
He was on Queer Street, but I don't know if he ever went fully out.
Volk went I don't even want to say Queer Street. I want to say Dustin Poirier was he was hurt. He was out of that fight. Queer Street.
Like I'm saying, he was out of that fight. It was a good stoppage. I'm not debating that. What I'm debating is I don't know if his brain ever shut off. And
in terms of if we're trying to play devil's advocate, if we're trying to say Saint-Denis doesn't deserve this.
Yeah.
You got Chandler locked up with out-of-ranking McGregor. Sarukian never going to get that fight to sign. Gamrot fighting RDA. They're actually having
Sarukian's fighting Oliveira.
Sarukian's fight. Do we want to just get another showcase against Beneil Dariush? Fiziv's out of it for a while.
Beneil would have been a great matchup.
Jalen Turner just did them a favor and smoked Bobby Green. Does he really want to
Beneil would have been the matchup.
Beneil would have been the matchup, and that's still moving up 5 places.
But I also think Beneil's situation is a lot different.
I would have actually really liked to have seen Fiziv Saint-Denis on International Fight Week if they could have Fiziv there. I think that would make more sense than this.
He's coming off a torn ACL.
So let this guy still get a win over fucking half Fiziv.
I just think Poirier's a hill too far. Obviously, betting sites and people who are betting are against me on this, but to me, this is a bridge too far.
Do you believe the hype? Poirier's never lost 2 in a row ever.
I got superstitious.
Or is that
shit.
Superstitious?
It's look, remember, it's a coincidence.
How dare you?
But again,
how dare you?
But the coincidence probably continues.
I mean,
I'll say that
history dictates Dustin Poirier wins these fights.
Yeah.
If you're on the betting lines, history dictates.
Yeah.
Dustin Poirier wins these fights.
Yeah. We're just gonna continue.
So we lost video.
Yeah.
But it can still hear us.
Yeah, because we're recording on the phone.
Oh, even better. Yeah, we'll just tell people enjoy your fight.
Yeah.
This is what we look like. Anyway, I think that's about enough for the co-main event and the main event. Let's move on to the people's choice. In my opinion, the people's main event, the reason we actually are probably here, being perfectly honest. And the craziest part about it is that one of them's making their UFC debut, and I did not realize this. Michael Venom Page's record of 21-2-0. and some against elite competition. I know Bellator's a lower product, but I still think Douglas Lima was very good.
He beat Douglas Lima
After he got knocked out by
one
Douglas
of that
Lima.
one of those losses is bullshit. The Logan Storley loss, I believe he deserved the nod because Storley did jack shit on the ground.
Especially if you're gonna go on modern judging now, where like holding someone down doesn't get you points or a win. Sorry, wrestlers, this is MMA. Sorry, MMA fighters, or win for MMA fighters.
But really, man,
we're going against the
props
boy,
to the Trailblazer, man.
Kevin Holland, taking this fight at 25-10-0. Some of those losses coming on short notice against the bigger weight class.
Most of those losses at 85.
Most of his losses at 85, and this is a 2-division fighter. This is a guy who steps up and says no to nobody. He's coming in at 1 inch taller, 5 years younger, and 3 inch. Kevin Holland is an orthodox fighter. He's not switch.
He could probably switch.
He probably could, but I guess he's favored or heavily. I guess he's registered.
It's what they list themselves as. So.
Okay, so he's listed himself as orthodox. Strikes per minute, 4.3 versus 4.5. Striking accuracy, 61. Michael Venom Page at 84% strike accuracy. Is Kevin Holland that easy to hit, though?
Kevin Holland is very cerebral.
Yeah, he's not going to be there. Kevin Holland was super competitive against Thompson.
That 81-inch reach is going to be
going into this
factor.
Going into this fight, I'm so happy Holland has that Thompson fight for experience.
Yes.
Because he had a lot of success till he broke his hand on the top.
And this is another thing I disagree with a lot of people talking about this fight. A lot of people are saying that Thompson fight proves this is a hill too far.
No.
To me, until he broke his hand, he was having a lot of success. Yes, he was getting hit, but this is also Kevin Holland we're talking about. We're talking about a guy who's a cowboy. He's just gonna go in there and he's gonna fucking fight.
Also, I'm
really hoping there's no gentleman's agreement in this fight.
I'm really sorry, Kevin Holland just gets to the ground. You dominate.
This is a guy who had his way.
Also,
with
I'm gonna be real. Michael Page has obviously had the narrative and had to deal with some really good wrestlers. How long can Kevin Holland keep him on the ground? You know what a huge win or a huge feather in Kevin's cap is? If like you have your tussle, you this, you that, a knockdown or a slip even, you can hold Michael Venom Page down. Okay. This is a problem for a lot of people.
People don't remember this because he lost this fight and it was a little bit of an eye-opener that he lost this fight. But Kevin Holland's the only fighter in the UFC to take down Derek Brunson.
He took down blonde-haired Brunson for a moment. We just remember
He held him there for like a minute. He held him there for like a minute and a half.
We're just always going to remember Brunson laying on him for 10, 12 minutes of that fight.
That's why I'm saying everyone overlooks it.
Yeah.
But the skill that
my boy
Holland
got no
has,
wrestler tonight. My boy is, I don't think Michael Page, even if he does get hurt, is good. I don't think Michael Venom Page trains takedowns.
He may not.
I don't think he trains takedowns.
I don't know.
I base that on no factual evidence. Let's be honest.
But what I was saying before, that 81-inch reach advantage is going to come in big in this fight. Michael Venom Page is not used to fighters that are longer than him.
I also feel like he's very kick heavy. If we learn something from the BKFC thing, Michael Venom Page doesn't really.
He's not a boxer.
Uses hands for more than setups.
Yeah.
So
look, he's been in boxing fights. He's won boxing fights, but it's also like those weren't good opponents.
Yeah, Mike
Perry
went in
there with Mike Perry
this guy.
and his face looked like a balloon.
Yeah, dude, he did not have a good time in BK.
But what I'm saying is that 81-inch reach, Michael Venom Page is going to be surprised with how long and how easy it is for Holland to get into range. Because if you watch the fight with Jack Della Maddalena, like they will be 5 yards apart and Holland just takes one leap, goes in and he's able to get into range. Like Holland finds weird angles to get inside on fighters. And that's going to be interesting on a fighter who's not used to people who are also unorthodox. Because Michael Page uses his unorthodoxness, so to speak, to confuse fighters. The Dan Rickles fight.
Yeah.
Cyborg Santos. They were confused.
Yeah,
Rickles basically gave up. He waved the fight off because he couldn't find Venom. Holland's the same way. Holland's a guy that just is weird.
Yeah, he's not cut from a normal cloth, and he obviously has a far better grappling pedigree. If you were to break it down in terms of like how they fight. Overall fighter, this is definitely Kevin Holland's the more complete MMA fighter. Michael Page is the
better striker, I would say.
I have to say Michael Venom Page is the way more accolade, and I think like
he's the cleaner striker.
Yeah, I gotta like I can't
But I will say, if this
I can't
fight
fully
gets-
agree that Kevin's going to bring something that he hasn't seen before in his life.
If this fight gets dirty, like gets sort of inside and grimy, this is Holland's fight to lose.
I think if what we learned anything bringing it to BKFC, Kevin, box this motherfucker. Like get in, like I don't know, be careful.
I mean, the problem with MVP and MMA is that MVP forces the kicking.
This isn't a walk in the park for Kevin Holland, but this is certainly
to me, unlike what other people say, this is very much a winnable fight for Holland.
Yeah, this is a guy who's...
This would be a huge feather in his cap.
So actually, let me just break this down. I think Kevin Holland has actually very good leg kicks. He puts a lot of force in everything he does. He sits on his punches very well.
At 170, he's probably the most powerful 170 fighter in that top. From the range of like that 7 to 15 mark, he's probably the most powerful welterweight.
I also like that he's not going to fall for the fucking talking shit and the Pokemon nonsense. Like Kevin Holland's like, yo, let's just talk then. I'll talk to you about I'll talk about anything.
Hey, they
joke, have the first live podcast.
They're gonna have their first in-cage podcast.
Yeah, if only we had those ref goggles for the UFC, but
that'd be cool.
We have a bigger production here. We don't have fancy glasses for Mark Goddard to wear.
All right, pick.
So I'm like really torn here. I think this goes to a split decision for MVP, sadly. I think MVP split. I don't think there's a finish in this fight.
I think Kevin Holland wins this off of activity.
Yeah, you think Kevin Holland 30-27 or 29-28?
29-28.
Yeah.
Again, you might be right. It might go split.
I think this is MVP split.
I think this might be
Holland split. Is MVP split.
Because Holland, if you watch the Jack Della
Maddalena, my heart is like, I want a Kevin Holland showcase.
Watch the Jack Della Maddalena fight again, and I'll ask the viewer out there.
So when we go into the next segment, you can do that. When we go into the next segment, you can almost use it as a study thing on JDM. I want to say just one thing. I really want to emphasize. I think Kevin Holland should exploit the leg kicks on Michael Venom Page, especially since that's how he got upset. That knockout was not even an upset. That knockout.
No, that was a weird situation.
I still think Kevin Holland has power on those kicks. He can sweep that motherfucker right off his leg.
So the way he got knocked out, he got leg kicked,
and fell,
and then he
got
just
caught.
he tried getting up right away.
Yeah.
And that's how he got caught.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful for Venom that he's learned from that to not immediately just
roll.
Just literally like, instead of that, go to your knees first.
Or just stay on your back. Be like, what do you want to do?
No, go to your knees.
Just let Kevin Holland tell you to stand up.
Go to your knees first, because you cannot be kicked while on your knees.
True.
So it's like, at that point, a fighter gets a little confused, and then once they sort of start to back off to figure out what they're doing, you hop back up. I'm hoping Venom Page learned from that. Leg kicks will be a factor because he does go heavy on that lead leg.
I really think that's what you got to
exploit. Outside leg kicks is going to be
I think Kevin should be
a major factor.
Not even,
and again, that's activity.
Man. So it falls into your game plan as well.
It's activity.
Or your prediction.
If you watch the Jack Della Maddalena fight, like I was saying, he's just active. He's going at him. The Royval method.
Yeah.
Just at him. Not everything has to land.
So, speaking of Jack Della Maddalena, we're on to our welterweight bout. And he has a very tough ask in front of him. This is a Gilbert. Did he have to get that shoulder reconstructed?
I might have gotten surgery. I don't know if
we have another pick'em on a big jump. Is this possibly the UFC trying to like show depth for ESPN trying to show depth for the UFC? Because I'm sorry, these should not be these close fights on the odds. I'm thinking
this is a fight that
some of these veterans are being disrespected because they're not in the retirement home yet.
See, look,
they're not in wheelchairs yet. They're fucking in their mid-30s. All right, Burns is almost 40s, 37.
This is a fight I have a different tune on. If you remember, Gilbert Burns struggles a lot with boxing. Jack Della Maddalena is a boxing-heavy fighter, and he is damn good.
Yeah.
He is a combination puncher. Most combinations, 3 to 4 punches. And then he has this hook I'll try and put a clip in, but he has this hook where he starts it at his hip and sort of comes up. And Durinho even struggles with jabs. He's going to struggle a lot with some of the weird boxing tactic of Jack Della Maddalena. So this to me really comes down to striker versus grappler.
Yeah, this
for
is
Jack,
the
he's got to
tale.
keep it on the feet. And for Gilbert, you got to get this to the ground. Because I don't think either guy could survive in the other guy's
one's
world.
comfort zone. Yeah, JDM's probably a little too
Vassal
fast
Hafez
seasoned.
held him down.
And
This
Gilbert,
is Gilbert
Burns
Durinho
gets you
Burns.
down, you are in a world of trouble. I think the first round, Gilbert, if he can get it to the ground with 2 minutes to work, I think Gilbert might just ice it or just like attempt, get a takedown late. I don't know if JDM gets taken down early in this fight.
Probably not.
Yeah. I also, all
me,
focus
though,
on
is,
JDM, Gilbert Burns is fucking
This is really
savage.
about, does JDM have the requisite takedown defense to keep this on the feet? Because if he can keep this on the feet, this is his fight to win. I'm sorry, Gilbert. Gilbert's my guy, but you got to call a spade a spade. He's
a jiu-jitsu ace.
At this point in his career, he got better with the boxing, and that's what got him to a title fight. But Kamaru kind of showed him there's levels to this striking.
A jab punished him. In that title fight, and that changed everything.
So it's like,
I don't think you're gonna catch JDM with these blitzes and these hooks. I agree with your assessment, even though it pains me to kind of criticize Gilbert Burns.
I don't like doing
incredibly
this.
talented. He's a Henry Hoof guy.
Yeah.
He's got real striking pedigree and partners. And you know what? I will say this: he's been there. He's seen it.
That's on
Thompson, Masvidal. He's fought strikers who are far better than him at
We
striking.
said a lot of these things about Wonder Boy, and what was the thing about that?
Burns
He just
became
took
the
him
first. Burns became the first guy to take him down and control him and finish. Did he finish him? No.
No, he just
Controlled him. He was the first guy to really hold him down and control him. Maybe it was a show of the time for Thompson. Maybe Durinho's a great grappler. I know he was a little disappointed. I can assume this: he's probably going for war. Jack Della Maddalena, enemy territory. Very little Aussie hype here in Miami. It is a trek from down under, to be honest with you guys. So I can't say I'm surprised, but I respect this guy. I like that he's striking heavy, and I like that this guy can shut the lights on anybody. I think this could be a showcase win for him if he gets a win over Gilbert Burns.
again, to me, I think.
Do you think this is... All right, let me ask you this.
from what we've
Do you
seen-
think this is too high of a skill jump? No. All right.
Again, we're also talking about a Gilbert who had reconstructed shoulder. This is also a Gilbert that needs to prove something. This isn't Dustin Poirier, who just had one bad loss. Gilbert had an injury that sidelined him.
And he fought for 3 rounds on it, and that probably was not good for that shoulder.
Probably wasn't smart.
No. But taking a TKO loss to Bilal, never going to happen. Sorry. Accept death.
Bilal would be the only guy to.
Bilal would be sitting there like,
I finished Gilbert Burns.
I finished Gilbert Burns because he accidentally tore his shoulder. And we don't have to hear that. You know why? Because Gilbert Burns is a fucking savage. So, that's why I think JDM's got his hands full, even though it has nothing to do with, striking prowess. I just think he's a tough guy to finish.
Yeah.
He's a tough guy to finish.
Yeah.
And I don't know, if we seen Gilbert really get cracked, because Chimaev's a fucking grappler. That was crazy.
Hamzat
you know what I'm saying? Dropped him. And
Hamzat dropped him. Kamaru dropped him. No one else really dropped
JDM
him.
can exploit that jab. We really can see, Do you think maybe they go into that with... Maybe do you think this is probably a jab-heavy JDM before he's set to,
Probably.
You think he tries to actually fight more off the jab as opposed to these lulling counters?
If he's smart.
Yeah, if he's smart. If he's smart, he's going to exploit the jab.
Yeah.
Gilbert got smoked in his title shot against Kamaru Usman, who's a wrestler. It was actually didn't someone on Twitter shit on him once? Yo, you got smoked by a jab.
Yeah.
It was that was the key to beating you on your tear. On your rise to a title shot, a jab was the difference maker.
All right,
And,
I think we're kind of.
All right.
This fight.
Good luck to my boy Gilbert. I'm going to root for him. I'm going to say Gilbert 29-28.
I'm probably going Jack.
Yeah, you're gonna you're gonna be the purist here. Song Yadong versus Petr Yan or Peter.
Look, I think this fight's pretty straightforward. Petr Yan's head is in the game. He should win this fight.
I think Petr Yan wins this 20. I think Petr Yan wins this 30-27. I think
If
Petr
his
Yan
head is-
wins this.
If he's in the right headspace, he should.
Yeah.
Song Yadong does not move his head.
He's from fucking Siberia. He's never been fucking ragdolled and beaten down and had to come
Marab
back.
ragdolled and beat him.
That's what I mean. He's from a fucking frozen tundra. He's felt adversity. Said it once, I'll say it again. There's a reason he's still at number 4 above our title challenger. Let's be fucking real.
I mean,
there's a reason he's actually ranked higher than our title challenger.
Again, if Petr Yan's head is still in the game, he should win this fight. Song Yadong does not move his head, and he's going up against one of the better boxers in the division.
I just want to shout out to the creator of DBZ passing away and Song Yadong coming out with the Super Saiyan Yellow. You know, that was definitely not on purpose, but like part of me has my heart rooting for this young kid who's been tested against the top and not passed. So I also have to say that. Sorry, Song Yadong.
I mean, he beat our title challenge.
Song Yadong?
Yes. He has a win over Chito Vera.
So you know what he has in common with Chito Vera as well? He also got beat by Corey Sandhagen pretty decisively.
Yes.
So I don't know. You know what? I guess what we're discovering, Corey Sandhagen or Merab should be fighting for the title this weekend. That's what we've actually discovered going down this card. We've actually discovered that Corey Sandhagen is
Corey Sandhagen should be tonight.
Corey Sandhagen should be tonight's backup or main event.
Yeah.
You know, we should just have Rob fighting the winner of O'Malley Sandhagen. Yeah. Or we should have Corey fighting the winner of O'Malley Merab. And Chito Vera should be aristocracy had its way.
Right. Talking about what Yadong would need to do to win this fight, has to be super active in round 1. Petr Yan does not win round 1 often.
No.
You cannot be as patient as Yadong is usually in round 1. You cannot be that patient against Yan.
Always got a high guard up. I want to hope Yadong. Yeah, I want to hope you are practicing that front teep kick Aljo used was money. And I also want to say, like, if you have leg kicks,
he's able to.
Fucking dude is tough. He's going to check a lot of them. He's very defensively sound.
The way he wins this fight is very active first round, and in the other rounds, while Petr Yan is using this pressure boxing style, Yadong is very good at counter hook.
Okay.
The counter hook is going to be super important for him. Does it get through? Probably not. Again, if Petr Yan is in the game and he's not just going out there like a fucking madman, he should win this fight.
I also want to say this. Petr Yan is now entering his physical prime at 31. So he's got time for growth.
Well, he's entering the latter stages of it.
I'm just saying. So, you know.
Still 31 after
29
such a title reign.
29 and 30 have really kind of sucked for this Siberian motherfucker. And
you don't usually see that.
Yeah. He's got a few years to stay super relevant here within the top 5. Or
if he wins, because again,
you know,
if he loses this, there's a chance he's out of the promotion.
Adapt or die, and I mean by adapt meaning like, you know, somehow survive like 50 takedown attempts. Like, I mean, his last loss and what he got super demoralized. I mean, how could you not? Like, what the fuck do you want him to do?
Well, the problem with that last loss is that he also got outstruck.
He was just hands were down. He was exhausted.
Said it multiple times. Petr Yan should win this, but you got a hungry Song Yadong who's always improving under that Uriah Faber camp.
I can't wait to see your Russian friend's opinion of you.
I'm saying he should fucking win.
Oh my god,
he should fucking win. But again, this is all up to his headspace. That Merab fight could be demoralized.
I mean, he had a very easy press conference. Maybe he's loving Miami. Who knows? You know,
we don't know because no one asked him anything at the press conference.
I will say this. The guy looks very ready to fight. He was fucking. They were the only ones that looked like
he's professional.
They were the only ones that looked like they could have had certain altercations going into this, if we're being perfectly honest.
Yeah, they got a little chippy, but I think Yadong is feeling himself.
Yeah, he's learning some English words to be like, fuck you, motherfucker. You know, maybe Peter also only understands insults. You know, like, let's be real. Thank God they only got one question apiece, or barely a question, because the press
conference would have been an hour long.
These guys couldn't be alone in a room with each other and understand anything other than fighting skills. On to the next one. We're down to the prelims now. My boy.
Probably one of the more important fights on the whole card.
Sadly, you know, maybe we're snobs. Maybe we appreciate the finer wines of MMA. This is one of the fights that drew us in. We've been following the Jailton Almeida hype for a while.
Jailton.
Yeah. To anyone who doesn't know, Jailton Almeida is at 261 fucking pounds. No way.
No, he weighed in at 240.
ESPN has him listed as 261.
Dude, ESPN's a bunch of fucking.
ESPN is a bunch of nonsense.
Load of shit.
Load of shit.
Here, I'll go to Twitter quick.
Go to Twitter and get me his official weight, because that is nonsense. Curtis Blade's coming in at the ripe age of 33. Angel numbers for some, But I'm gonna say, do or die. This is your moment to get the potential for a Cyril Gane fight and title eliminator. Once again, one of those very good heavyweights, elusively unable to fight for undisputed gold. Jailton Almeida's story is fucking incredible. He is a light heavyweight.
241.
241. Okay, so ESPN has him 20 pounds heavier for no reason. Reach is surprisingly only a 1-inch reach disadvantage. So this guy's not a small 205er, but Jailton Almeida, to people who don't know, was originally a 205 fighter, and no one in the UFC would give him a fight. So he took heavyweight fights, and he just kept winning. And now he's sitting at
Ragdoll Shamil Abdurakhimov.
Oh, Shamil Abdurakhimov did not have a good time with actually my age.
Ragdolled other big guys. This is back when Jailton, yes, he weighed in at 241 today. He usually weighs in at 234.
I know the Derek fight was not pretty. I know it was not
pretty. But again,
pretty.
a lot of that was because Derek was doing a good job of not giving him open.
Yeah, if anything we learned, it's not that easy to submit Derek Lewis. And that he doesn't also at his age have that same explosivity, sadly.
Because
we love you, Derek.
Because his coach basically told him, look, we don't have that explosivity anymore, so if you get taken down and you're in mount, corpse guard.
I want to explain
corpse guard.
I want to explain the magnitude of this for people. This is the prelim main event, okay? This is number 7 versus 5 at heavyweight. As the prelim main event.
This could determine a number 1 contenders fight. Because if Jailton
sadly, I think
wins,
if Blades wins, he has to fight Gane. And if
Jailton
wins, he has to fight Pavlovich.
Yeah. Probably.
That's, I think, what happens to either guy. Do you think if Curtis Blades wins,
you think there's
Tom
any
Aspinall tries to get that back?
Do you think Tom Aspinall ever? Do you think he's going to defend the interim?
I would assume if he does, it's not going to be against Jailton Almeida, even though he actually chipped about it once or twice.
To be honest, if Jailton wins this fight, who else here?
I think you got a better sell if Curtis Blades here, because their fight that Curtis Blades has a win over Aspinall was not really a fight. He tore his ACL early, and even Blades was humble enough to say, we didn't really get to fight. So I would give it. I would assume he wants that one back.
I get what you're saying, but if Almeida wins, who else deserves it here? Cyril Gane doesn't.
Well, Cyril Gane, Blades also. I think.
Well, I'm saying if
Almeida wins. Almeida's wanted Cyril Gane. I love Almeida Gane in France. And then you could put Saint-Moi bent the fucking knee.
If he passes this test, I don't think he needs the Gane test. I think he can go to Aspinall
for an interim heavyweight title shot.
As the interim heavyweight. Because let's imagine the scenario.
I want to see Almeida against
What if Almeida?
He's young.
What if Almeida?
I think he's good.
Ragdolls.
Then we're talking about something very different. I don't think he ragdolls Curtis Blades, if being honest. I don't think he's ragdolled anyone in the UFC.
Who? Almeida?
Who's he ragdolled?
Shamil Abdurakhimov.
Shamil Abdurakhimov.
You're saying he's never ragdolled anyone? Go look up fucking Jailton Almeida fights.
No.
He ragdolls every opponent.
So
he ragdolls every fucking opponent. Any opponent that Jailton Almeida has had.
I think Cyril Gane needs a tough opponent to stay relevant. I think that's Jailton Almeida, personally. I think the real wrestling test for Cyril Gane is Jailton Almeida or Curtis Blades. To be honest with you, this should get this. Whoever gets this, if you want it, if Tom Aspinall wants it, why not? Let him stay active and fight you. But I don't think I want to see Cyril Gane, Tom Aspinall, because I don't think that does anything other than play into the favor of how Cyril Gane likes to fight. And I'm so sick of Cyril Gane getting striker-heavy opponents. I need a real grappler. He saw a real grappler.
He got Sergey Spivak.
Fucking stop this nonsense.
What? You got Sergey Spivak.
He showed...
Oh! He also ragdolled Jairzinho.
He did throw Jairzinho down like a dog.
First round.
All right. Well, I guess I misinterpreted ragdoll a little bit as a knockout or knocking.
I would say ragdolled is a guy who puts a guy over his shoulder that's 30 pounds heavier than him and slams him on the ground.
All right.
That's a ragdoll.
All right. I just misinterpreted the term ragdoll. It's it's late-ish. So that's why I think you need to take one of these guys. And if we're gonna play heavyweight matchmaker here, Does the winner get Aspinall and the loser get gone in France?
Well, loser probably doesn't get gone because I don't think
Either one's still the test I want to see for
I
Gane.
don't know if the loser goes up because both would be going up to Gane.
It seems like Cyril Gane's going to fight in France. Not to make this kind of assessment about Cyril Gane, but I just want to think about Gilton wants that fight first of all. So I think, honest to God, if Gilton wins this fight, he probably I think he's going to call for it again. I think this could be a nice coming out party for Almeida because the Derek fight ruined his stock tremendously in a fucking 5-round victory. And I think Curtis Blades, man, if you knock this kid, Curtis Blades knocks this kid to Mars, or Curtis Blades ragdolls this kid,
you might give him Aspinall.
You might just have to run Aspinall Blades back, and you do it in London. You send Blades to enemy territory.
Yeah, you say, look, Blades, we'll give you the title shot, but
yeah,
the title shot you've always wanted, but you're doing it on our turn.
But and I just love Tom Aspinall's got to want that fight back.
Probably. I mean,
and at this point, if you're Tom Aspinall, do you really want to sit on the sidelines as this
I mean, he wants to fight. He's calling out Stipe all the time, and Stipe's like, nah, I'm waiting for John.
Stipe's waiting for John. Heavyweight is kind of a theatrical nightmare right now.
I think Dana White is making it a theatrical night. There's no reason to do...
I'm getting a phone call.
There's no reason to do John versus Stipe. I think that hype is over. There's nothing to it.
I think we're just gonna get it when we get it.
I don't think there's a reason to. Do you see a reason? I don't think Stipe's still the heavyweight GOAT at 42.
You look at
he's still the heavyweight GOAT in terms of resume, but at this moment, do you think Stipe Miocic is still giving you heavyweight GOAT performances? Like the performance he gave when he knocked out Daniel Cormier, is he still giving us those performances? I don't think so. Against John fucking Jones.
Stipe's last fight
was against Francis fucking Ngannou.
Ooh, did not look good.
That was his last fight.
Didn't look good. Yeah, I think if John Jones...
It's
honestly,
over.
John Jones could just go off in the sunset and not fight any of these people.
That would actually be better because then you could elevate Aspinall to full champion.
Yeah, fuck it.
And you could keep this division turning.
Let John retire on top and just be fat.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right. Anyways.
Ngannou just got sent to Mars. We're not running any fights anytime soon between any of these guys ever. And there's all these mythical fights. It's stupid. Let Tom Aspinall defend against the winner of this if he wants to. And just call it an undisputed title because it's what it is.
Yeah.
If you're a real...
This is the real champion.
Yeah, the division actually starts at Tom Aspinall.
Yeah.
John Jones is in that ethereal money fight category.
Yeah.
What does the PFL call it? It's just what do they call it?
It's the money division. It's the prize fight division.
Prize fight division. We're going to just make that the UFC's Pride Fight division. Very exciting matchup at women's flyweight to bring it to a far lighter women's flyweight. Not really wide open, but kind of wide open considering the Valentina trilogy is going to come to an end after The Ultimate Fighter. Macy Barber trying to
move up the
make
rankings.
A statement even as a favorite against formerly Caitlin Chukagian, now Caitlin Sermonara, had taken the retirement route, right? Didn't she leave?
She was about to retire.
Yeah,
and
she's
then
gonna go.
Some
bad circumstances have happened, and now she's focused on coming back to fighting because of
a few bad circumstances that have.
She just had personal family issues that didn't come together. And now has decided to put her focus back to fighting. I mean, honestly, let's just stop being pussies. We're saying horrible things. She dealt with infertility issues, and now, as a distraction, is using fighting to try and dig herself out of a place. And I think if one thing's going to get you focused, it's a fight. And the best mentality to have is wanting to be there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you actually look at her as Caitlin Chukagian as wanting to be there in her last couple fights.
Yeah.
What was her last fight? The short notice step up.
I don't know if that was her last fight. I don't think that was her last fight.
All I'm saying is this. I mean, 35 versus 25. I think, this is a former pretty decorated Taekwondo athlete, and I think Macy Barber is very susceptible to getting fucking punched in the face. It's just going to be easy about it. It's going to be layman's terms in it. Macy Barber takes the damage. She takes the damage.
She likes the brawl, and I think Caitlin keeps a clean fight, but also Macy Barber knows how to put a pace on.
Are we going to... she gets hit and she doesn't go backwards. She goes fucking for it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, dude. Let's see.
Does Caitlin have it still to that level?
Yeah. Does Caitlin have a chin? Does Caitlin,
There's a lot of questions.
I'm going to be real. Caitlin looked shredded. She looked actually in the best shape I've seen her in a while. Let's see if she's got some power. If Caitlin has some power, usually say power's the last thing to go. I don't think Caitlin Chukagian really has ever had power. If I'm Macy Barber, I try to go the Andrade route and attack the body.
Her last loss was to Manon Fiorot. Yeah.
So, last loss was to number 1 in the world and title challenger in the making if she beats Erin Blanchfield. I personally think neither of these women can really handle either of those two fighters. Well, Seminara again, and Barber just not there yet.
She's still developing. And
I
think that's the biggest thing on her side right now.
Yeah.
Is that she's growing.
If we see a very technically sound, incredibly well composed striking clinic out of Macy Barber, you got to throw her the top 5. You got to throw her the wolves. And that's the best way I can describe this fight, to be honest with you. I think we just move on from it.
Yeah,
that's it.
It's an interesting fight.
There's your backstory. There's your situational setup. We got good height disadvantage, like good height differential, huge age differential, 3-inch reach, orthodox versus switch.
I think in 10 plus years age gaps, I think the younger fighter wins 60%.
Something like that. And then, unfortunately, Caitlin Chookagian doesn't look the best at getting back up if she gets taken down. So,
I mean, Macy Barber's not that type.
But Macy Barber has some trips and slips and things.
Yeah.
Good luck to Macy Barber, and happy to see Caitlin fighting. She's a skilled woman. Good bar. Because if I can just finish it with this, good luck to Macy. But here's the thing. Caitlin is probably going to be one of those hard fighters to look good against.
Yeah.
Unless you're Jessica Andrade, who got smoked by the champion. Mateusz Gamrot versus RDA. The fact that Macy Barber is above Rafael Dos Anjos on a UFC card, kind of criminal. I actually have not noticed this. Kind of criminal.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Dana. You got to do my boy RDA better than fucking underneath
and even
Macy.
Mateusz Gamrot is top 10.
How do you expect this guy to take fights like Mateusz Gamrot when you're popping him at 39 years of age underneath Macy Barber?
Yeah.
This is
rough. Mm-hmm.
We got Southpaw versus Southpaw. You know, we got
Mateusz Gamrot, probably some of the best grappling.
39
agility.
Versus 33. RDA's list of who he's fought. Think of everyone who gives you a nightmare. You want to know why RDA doesn't have a 32-5 record? Because he never said no to the dudes that when you're at the top, you would say no fucking way.
Yeah.
That's why.
And I mean, he's taking this fight, which is still a fucking crazy fight. Again, Mateusz Gamrot has some of the craziest scrambles you will ever see in your life against Arman Tsarukyan.
There's no safe grappling against Mateusz Gamrot, and RDA needs to show that boxing pedigree.
Yeah.
Needs to show why he's almost at a full percentage above in terms of significant strikes landed per minute than this guy. And we got the takedown advantage accuracy looks far similar, but that's just because RDA changed his focus. RDA is a great striker, and I want to hope he relies on it personally. Yeah. And I just don't think at this level anyone gets caught in some slick jiu-jitsu. But RDA is a legit black belt. I mean, I'm not going to discredit his grappling. I just hope that boxing can show up. That's all I could say.
To me, this is Mateusz Gamrot's fight.
Yeah, dude. This is RDA's coming in at the lower ranking. This is number 12 RDA versus number 7 Gamrot. And we have a minus 425 for your boy Gamrot.
This is Gamrot's fight to lose.
23-2-0 against a guy
Rafael Dos Anjos has slowed down considerably at this point.
He's fighting at 39. He's already won a belt. Bless him. He also had great success at 170, and he didn't want to cut to 55, and then he realized the 70ers are too big. Yeah. Once he got to the top 3 of the 170 division.
One of Leon Edwards' signature wins is RDA.
Respect that RDA was a real motherfucker at 170. Yeah. Respect that he was. So I actually think that maybe first of all, looked like he had an incredible camp for this. RDA looked sharp, focused, shredded. He's fucking 39 years old, and he was actually very competitive against Fiziev until he got finished in the 4th. He's actually been finished. This dude has had the motherfucker's row of a resume.
Murderer.
If you want to look at the history of the 155-pound division and a little bit of the 170-pound division, and everyone who you'd think has really great highlights, chances are they either won or lost to RDA and had to fight RDA. That's how good this guy is. So how dare you put him underneath Macy Barber?
I guess we'll leave that fight off there.
Moving on. Fuck you, Dana White.
Let's go quickly through these last 4.
Pedro Munoz, Kyler Phillips.
Great step up for Kyler Phillips. Pedro Munoz has looked old in his last few fights.
Yeah, you want to bring that mindset question in here? Pedro Munoz looks like, get my fucking contract here and I'm going to the PFL.
So,
we're out of here.
Yeah, all right. I think that's pretty much all we can say. This is Kyler Phillips, a fight to lose. based off of mindset. But hey, if you fuck around with Pedro Munoz will fuck you up.
Some of his signature wins were people being stupid, and then,
Cody Garbrandt.
Yeah, I hate to say it. But Pedro Munoz, pretty good striker.
Yeah.
Slick guillotine, not to be slouched on as a grappler, but not someone who relies on it. Incredible chin.
Yeah.
Has anyone finished Pedro Munoz?
I don't think so.
No, I remember
I think that's why they gave
Aljo pieced him up, but like
Aljo gave him a 3-round decision.
That's why they gave him to O'Malley before that eye injury or whatever.
Yeah, because he hasn't been finished.
Yeah. All right. Well, Pedro Munoz has never been finished in the UFC. Kyler Phillips coming
Has
in
a chance to make a
at
statement.
11-2 at only 28 years old, has a 72-inch reach at 135,
Crazy.
above the 65-inch reach for Munoz. Very interesting. Kyler
think
Phillips,
that's it.
use that reach and send this guy to fucking somewhere else.
Yep. Fun fight here.
Jan Kutelaba versus Philip Lins. If
Felipe.
anyone is Felipe Lins, if anyone
Don't
is
be Joe Rogan.
if anyone, first time you're gonna hear that in the fucking podcast world. Ian Kutelaba. If you've never watched this guy, you're gonna just you're gonna like
He's
it.
kill or be killed.
Kill or be killed. He's just a crazy
Chin high.
Romanian dude. Oh yeah.
Chin high.
This is not.
strikes till he.
This is not the guy who you don't watch this guy for precision and masterclass kind of like elusivity. This is Hulk smash. This isn't a wrestler.
Literally walked to the weigh-ins.
Painted green. That wasn't even fake unison. And this is like the 5th time he's done it. His nickname Hulk, he takes very seriously. You don't like him when he's angry. Unfortunately for all of us, always angry, always Romanian. And
Always Romanian.
he's coming in 8 years the younger, 1 inch shorter. 3-inch reach disadvantage at Southpaw Orthodox. 4.6 strikes landed per minute at a 47% accuracy. You love to see it. This guy's gonna fucking fight, and hopefully
He'll be fun.
Yeah,
He's fun.
He's going against an older guy, so maybe this is like kind of tailor-made. I don't really know too much. What can you say about Felipe?
Can't say too much. I know how to pronounce his name better than Joe Rogan. But
Anyway, another disrespectful moment. Michel Picheda versus Michael Olejniczuk. People, do not sleep on Michael Olejniczuk. I know he's got some losses. I think this dude is actually a very skilled boxer. And I think if you get the Michel Picheda doing backflips and being a moron, then I think this dude can catch him and sleep him.
Yeah.
Michel Picheda is why you don't do capoeira in a cage. Cardio. We're going to see what kind of Michel Picheda we get. Do we get the one that lost to Diego Sanchez? Or do we get the one that, beat Santiago Ponzinibbio? Do we get the one that fights smart? Or do we get the one that has a little too much flair in Miami?
That's a big factor here.
Do we think Miami is going to get this guy to do backflips and dumb shit? Then this guy's like, what are you, a fucking asshole? And it's,
He might just Johnny Walker lose this shit.
He might just Johnny Walker lose it for you at middleweight, guys.
But yeah, Michel has a chance to really sort of get back into those 170 rankings.
I think it comes down to
185,
also, like, we love the flashy Johnny Walkers. We love the fucking Yuri Prohashkas. We love these Michel Pichedas. If you learn one thing from watching them is as fights move on and you get slower, that shit don't work.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with the technical fighter, Michel Olejniczuk, in the 3rd round as a TKO.
Moving on, newcomer Robelis Despanier versus Josh Parisian. Quick way to sum this up. Last 3 fights for Robelis Despanier have gone 19 seconds total, and Josh Parisian lost to the guy who lost to Shamil Gazib.
Maybe Josh Parisian is going to have that, like, I'm an American man. He's going to, like, really get fucking
That's his only chance.
hurt in the 1st round.
His only chance is a prayer.
Like, this 1st round might be.
Do you remember that? Do you know that meme?
Really,
when the guy's like,
listen.
When the guy's like, I pray to you, Donald Trump.
Josh
Please
Parisian.
That's his only shot of winning.
Let's not make this political. I think Josh Parisian might have one of those, like, Randy Marsh, like, hey, Bat Dad moments in the 3rd round, and Robelis Despanier has, like, 2 broken hands, and he's like, what the fuck? And he's just gassed. And then Daniel Cormier reminds us about wrestling, guys. And we see a massive upset, and your parlays are destroyed. Or we see the tin can moment, and Robelis. People don't believe
You really
me.
want to see Robelis Despanier lose, don't you?
Don't believe me. I'm just trying to somehow make you watch the early prelims for my boy Ion
CJ Vergara missed weight.
Yeah, fuck him, fat
Against
ass
the
motherfucker.
Kazakh,
If you miss weight, you
Asuamabayev.
will not get any love on this show. You fat motherfucker.
It was only a pound.
You
I can't call him
motherfucking disgusting pig.
Oh.
Get out of my fucking stats. I don't even care about your reach. Joanne Wood versus Mariana Moroz. Just
Moroz,
fucking throw your dollar and flip a coin.
it's really, it's about age. Joanne Wood's been around the block.
Got 38, 32. And,
Marina Moroz is a newer fighter to the game. Probably has a lot more miles on her.
We got
That's
Pillow
gonna
Puncher, but we also got Volume. 6.93 significant strikes landed per minute.
That could be something that
That
anyone
is
can deal with.
interesting.
But
She went
Joanne
from
Wood has
Calder
a
to
lot.
just Wood, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Let's fucking see it.
But anyways, that's the card.
Watch UFC, shit on CJ Vergara, and, this show won't tell you exactly what to expect, but this is what we're expecting, and,
Hoping you enjoyed.
we'll talk to y'all later tonight if we don't have laryngitis.
All right. See you later.